Hi and welcome, or welcome back if you came here from one of my previous videos. One question I recently got is how do you pick out the missions that you like to fly? Personally, I really like to fly cargo missions. Right now, I'm in the cargo medium category. So let's just head to the mission board and kind of see where we're at. One thing I will always say is I personally prefer to fly in the daytime. It's easier. If we're looking to make money, this is kind of the easiest way of doing it. Now, in the medium class, you have by default two options of airplanes. I have a third because I added an add-on plane. Now, the defaults are the PC-12 NGX and these, let's see if I have it here. I don't have it here. There's a Cessna 408, which is not the same that you see here. This is my add-on, which is a C408 Sky Courier. This is generally my preferred plane. It is very easy to fly. You can really not do much wrong with it. So in this case, we pick a daytime flight. It's going to go mostly over the water, which is fairly easy. So we're going to go ahead and accept that one. And once you load in, you can see all the criteria, your objectives. There's nothing exciting here except for the EFB itself. You can see it already has kind of a predetermined route for you. In our case, you can pick a reasonable cruise altitude. In this case, let's just call it 6,000 feet. That way we still get pretty views along the way and we're not too close to the ground. We're going to send that to air traffic control and the avionics. And with everything in there, we hit fly. You can see the process from picking a mission to getting started is really short. I think that makes sense if the name of the game is trying to make as much money as possible. Now you did just see an error pop up there that says G-force exceeded. As far as I know, this is a bug that only exists in the Sky Courier, so if you fly any of the regular planes, it doesn't happen. It's obviously a bug. You will get points deducted for it, because it's considered a pilot error. But there's nothing I can do to stop that at this time. Now you can skip this process, or you can just remove these 3 items, 2 covers, and the chocks. Skipping items also reduces your payout, so think carefully about what you do and don't skip. This is literally 3 items. Why would you skip it, right?
Good afternoon. How are you? So we're flying to Edcouch with General Freight.
While he does the pre-flight, I'm going to go ahead and just start the engines up. During the startup process, I generally just make sure everything is turned on.
If you also ensure timely arrival, you maintain our high standards of service excellence and everyone
I make sure I set up the autopilot as much as I can. Now I think we said that we were going to do
system test. Okay.
6,000 feet. And we should turn on all of the lights. And seatbelt light, because you should be wearing your seatbelt. Alright, we're gonna hit announce to taxi. And since it's an announcement, I don't have to wait for any kind of permission. Smaller airports, you just announce it, you don't ask for permission. We really just, our goal is to just get into the sky as quickly as possible. Try to get us as close into the box as we can. And again, we announce our takeoff. Ooh, we are at an awkward angle. Alright, let's try and see if we can loopy-loop around here. our goal is to get dinged as little as possible, so I'm trying not to get dinged for going off of the runway, for example. And we are good enough. Let's go ahead and give it the beams, release the brakes, and hopefully make it into the sky on time. Those trees are going to be coming up real fast. There we go. Up, 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 up. Alrighty.
200.
Let's go ahead. We are facing the right direction.
300. 300.
And at this point,
300.
the reason that autopilot is easy to use is because you also have to manage your radio at this point. So let me go ahead and keep the radio open here and move this out of the way. The reason you see it stuttering is because I'm also moving the EFB to my second monitor so that you don't have to see it. But you get absolutely inundated with ATC calls at this point in time, so it's a little hard to focus on both the flying and responding to the radios. You cannot automate this. During free flight you can have your co-pilot do that portion, but while you're flying yourself in career mode you cannot automate this. You have to deal with it, which is a little frustrating sometimes, because there's like 5 different things you have to do in a row. You can't do them as a procedure. At this point I've pressed buttons at least 6 times just to get these calls out. That seems somewhat wasteful of my time and attention. But we are in the air. We are largely on course. There goes button press number 7. We're getting there. So I just moved the radio controls off to my second monitor as well. One of the nice things that you can do in Flight Simulator is all of these individual panels that you open, including your mission steps if you want to, they have a little icon. You should hopefully see that highlighted in white in the top right corner, the little arrow going out. What you can do is you can pop those out and you can just drag them around across your monitor, which is very nice, because that way you can, if you have 2 monitors, you can just drag them over to a second monitor and you don't have to have them in your cockpit view. Now we are at 5,200 feet. We still get all of the pretty views. And we are on our way to the first waypoint. Now what you can't see, but what I can see, is I'm looking at the EFB. We are at altitude. And one of the things you see in the top right corner now is that you can hit Alt-N to skip to descent. What this does is it basically puts you at the start of your descent process, right? Very close to your landing. But by skipping all of this, you also miss out on all the money and the no skip bonus that you get. What would normally pay like 30 grand is now only going to be like 4 or 5. Is it faster? Yes, because it is probably a 3-hour flight. However, that's where the sim rate comes in. You can increase or decrease the sim rate to make time speed up. And we're going to go ahead and increase it 3 times. There's one risk that I should say up front, is that radio transmissions will also go at that speed, so you have to be very quick about reducing your sim rate to respond to radio transmissions. You'll miss them. If you miss them, you'll get dinged for it. So we're going to go ahead and accelerate it, and as soon as the first radio transmission comes in when we're changing frequencies, you'll see how quickly you have to respond to it. So we're going to set it 1, 2, 3, and you can see how much faster that goes. You do not get dinged for increasing the sim rate. Now, one thing to note is that there are people in the community of flight simmers who believe that increasing sim rate is basically cheating. Be that as it may, I find it a very useful tool. I still get to enjoy the pretty views, but the increased sim rate means that I get to complete this mission sooner, I unlock more of the world in career mode, and I'll be able to A, afford more and different planes, advance my flight numbers that I need to get to new flight types, and it also gets me more money quicker, which is helpful because then I can buy more planes. So overall, I don't think sim rate is necessarily cheating. It still requires user input, because if I just let it go like this, it's going to be a problem eventually. But while this is happening, all I really have to do is just keep an eye on the radio. So I'm going to mute myself, and we're going to go through this as we cross the... I think we're crossing the Gulf. We are crossing the Gulf. So as we cross the Gulf of Mexico, I'm just going to keep the sim rate up. You can watch along. It should take us about 5 to 10 minutes tops to get closer to our destination. So enjoy and keep an eye out for those radio transmissions. One thing I will note in the meantime is you see it making these wild swings. While the sim rate is higher, the autopilot wildly overcorrects, and it basically does this, where it shakes back and forth. You can usually correct it either taking off the autopilot or just reducing the sim rate and pulling on the stick a little bit, which is what I'm doing now to gently try and get it back onto its course. You can see in our center display that we're off of our GPS track by only a little bit. So we're gonna let it regain its position on the GPS track, and as soon as it's back on normally, we can probably increase it again. The next couple of waypoints are just a straight line, so there's no reason for it to be, you know, swaying all over the place. You can tell it stopped swaying. It's back on track. It's doing what it's supposed to be doing. So we're just going to go ahead and increase the sim rate. That swaying might happen again. It's kind of an inherent cause and effect thing of having the sim rate up, but it's not something I'm generally worried about. If it bothers you, just lower the sim rate, let it straighten itself out, or use the stick to straighten yourself out, and then work from there. Now in the top right, oop, there you go. In a very short amount of time, you saw 1, 2, 3, 4 transmissions come through. And we'll probably get dinged there for a missed transmission. The reason I missed it was I was clicking around on the EFB, trying to see where the next one would be. Now that the transmission is made, I can speed up the sim rate again, and just keep an eye out for when it happens again. Try to minimize the amount of times transmissions are missed, because they do cost money at the end of the day. Now to our left is Mexico, and you should pretty soon start seeing the Mexican coast in the distance. I think we fly close enough to it that it should be visible. And at this time we are also already halfway done with the flight. It'll slow down once we get closer to our destination, because we do want to land at least somewhat safely. But while we're going over this piece, it is just much easier to increase the sim rate. You can see the coast in the distance. You can see some hills and mountains sticking out. It's kind of hard to see, but in the distance there are hills and mountains. And you can see, because the sim rate is so high, it did a really wide swing, so it is swinging side to side over the GPS track again. I'm gonna I reduced the sim rate to give it an opportunity to kind of get back onto the track as it is. Because it swung out really, really far. You do get like a random co-pilot every time, which is why I tend to just look over and see who's that person next to me. You can see we're getting back onto the GPS track at this point. Since we're back on the track, I'll just increase the sim rate. It still wobbles a little bit. It's not the end of the world, we're close to the track at this point. And in this case, if it's about making money real fast, this is the easiest way of doing it. We're basically flying at an angle in towards Mexico right now. I can double check and see how far we have left to go. It should be around 170 nautical miles, which goes by really fast because it's about a mile a minute, or a mile a second. So that goes very fast.
124.5 for Dips 1-1, IT November, Tango, India 78.
And there is the next transfer from one area to the next. So at this point we're about 100 nautical miles away from our final turn, which is where we start our descent. I'm taking a quick look at the map to see how much work it's going to be to line up with the runway, but it looks like it's not so bad. The overall distance to get to base is going to be 105 nautical miles. So that's not bad at all. We should be joining over the coastline now, and the rest goes over land. I don't believe this area is very mountainous, so our altitude as it is completely fine. I know we're relatively low to the ground, but this also makes the final approach a lot easier. We're already low, we just have to take out the speed. I am going to slow down the sim rate a little bit because we are entering a zone where I believe we're going to have two kind of sharpish turns. So I'll try to keep it low for those moments where it needs to make the actual turn and doesn't fly too far off of the GPS track. There goes the first one. should be coming up on the second one. There it goes.
Dips 1-1, IT November, Tango, India 78, contact Monterey Center on 125.6. Good day.
And there we go. I think this should be our second to last handoff. In a few miles, we're likely just going to be ending up going to VFR, and IFR will be dropped. Keep in mind, you can also just cancel IFR entirely and fly VFR the whole way. And there we go. Since it's canceling IFR, I'm a little bit too high. I don't think it likes us flying in the clouds. So we're going to go ahead and take some of the speed out and drop some altitude. Let's make it 45. Able to drop a little bit further. Let's make it 3,500. Just go ahead and drop some altitude now. People on the ground aren't going to be bothered, and it makes landing a little bit easier. Jimmy over here is still terrified of what's going on. It's fine. Generally speaking, we are 20 miles from base, it looks like. So we can speed it along a little bit. Once we get closer, I'm just going to take manual control and just fly the last little bit in. It's generally easier to line yourself up with the runway that way. We're gonna go ahead and fly like we work for the cartel. So we're just gonna start dropping this thing towards the ground. We are 6 miles out. I think you can see the little airport way out in the distance. The one hard part about dropping your altitude is it's harder to see what's in front of you. I'm not concerned. It'll be fine. it's fine to use your sim rate to make yourself fly over this faster. Now here is runway number 9.
500.
So we're just gonna... Ooh, that is a short
400.
runway.
300.
The plane seems a little ominous in telling me what my altitude is.
200.
It's almost like it's challenging me to go lower. Personally, I like to
100.
just take a wide turn. I'll keep the throttle at 50 for now so we can make these turns. We're low enough to drop those. There. Okay.
100.
We are almost lined up. We're a little bit far to the left.
Stall.
Oh, I know.
$100. 100.
And let's return the sim rate back to normal. It feels like it's going very
100.
slow, but yeah, that's the normal sim rate. You can see the airport in the distance there. So we're a little bit to the right of it, of the runway.
6 Tango, Echo, 0 traffic. Dips 1-1, IT November, Tango, India 78 is on final. Runway 9er, to land, 6 Tango, Echo, 0 traffic.
There we go. This is not going to win any prizes. And that is okay, because we're only here to win money. We just have to clear the trees. And this thing is bouncing all over the place today. I think I announced that.
Echo, 0 traffic.
There we go.
1-1, IT November, Tango, India 78 is on final. Runway 9er, to land, 6 Tango, Echo, 0 traffic.
And we are going very, very slow. You can usually dump it on the ground a little bit before the runway, but we'll try to get it as close on as we can. And just immediately hit the parking brakes. Oh, technically the runway is there. And that's the taxiway.
Awesome flight, Captain. Thanks for getting us here safe.
And power it down, and we'll see how we did. There's definitely a couple of dings along the way on this one. Could have gone a lot cleaner, but at the end of the day, this is about making money fast with as few mistakes as possible, but mistakes will definitely happen. So let's see what the result is here. Yeah, I do not respect the condition of the aircraft by any means. So at the start of it, you saw the G-force exceeded bug. That gets you the aircraft stress limit exceeded. Ding in your aviator performance. And the runway excursion, that's my fault for landing on the grass. But at the end of the day, like I said, if you want to make money fast, you still got 32 out of it. And what this comprises of is you get a little bit reputation bonus, a little bit bad weather, but you can see the majority of this is your no skip bonus. And that is for not skipping any part of the flight and instead using the simrate to accelerate yourself through the course. So that is not bad. That is essentially 1,000 credits per minute of mission. And I think that's very reasonable. So hopefully that helps and gives you an idea of how you can kind of run these missions as fast as possible. Once you get into higher levels and bigger planes, you can make a lot more doing this. But don't forget, this is just to make money. Ultimately, if you also want to just have fun, play it any way you like. I also like to enjoy flights that are not using the sim rate to speed along, but rather just put yourself out there, hand fly through something, and just have a nice relaxing time with it. But this was just exclusively to show you what happens if you just race through with the sim rate on high. So hopefully that was informative. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. And otherwise, thank you for watching.